Welcome back to the Lone Star Ladies.
I'm Sherry Rose, Precinct Chair for 2091 in Plano.
Darlene Howe, Precinct Chair 2098, Carrollton.
And Brandy Kennedy, Precinct Chair 2097 in Carrollton. And we're here to talk about Denton County grassroots Republican politics. Sherry, you want to tell us what's coming up?
Yes, we have a very important special election coming up in Plano in January. The early voting runs from January 14th to the 27th, and election day is January 31st. It's for a city council seat. Please get out and vote. Wednesday, January 14th is the Collin County Judge and Commissioners Forum and Debate. It'll be from 6:30 to 9 at the Holiday Inn Suites in McKinney, 3220 Craig Drive. Thursday, January 15th, Robeson Ranch Republican Club is hosting an AG Commissioner Candidate Forum from 6:30 to 8. Wednesday, January 21st, the Robeson Ranch Republican Club is also hosting a Texas AG Forum from 6:30 to 8. Reitz, Middleton, and Roy will all three be in attendance. On Thursday, January 29th, the same group is hosting a U.S. Senate Forum from 6:30 to 8. All of these events will be at the Robeson Ranch Clubhouse, which is at 9428 East Robeson Circle. I highly suggest before you start heading out there, because it's about a 30-minute drive from Plano, that you double check on DentonGOP.org just to verify that the location and the time. Also, some very important dates for y'all to remember. The 2026 primary is coming up. Monday, February 2nd is the last day to register to vote. Tuesday, February 17th to the 27th is early voting. February 20th is the last day to apply for a ballot by mail. And Tuesday, March 3rd is Election Day.
Today, we're really excited about our podcast. These two wonderful ladies right here had the opportunity to interview Erin Reitz, who's running for Attorney General in 2026 to succeed Ken Paxton. Many of us have spent hours worrying about who would step up after Paxton decided to leave. And because Paxton's always been a fierce fighter for Texas and willing to dive into the trenches and get what's needed for Texas.
Well, I am happy to say that I think Erin just might be the guy.
You might be.
He was very interesting to interview and just a powerhouse. He's a seasoned attorney. He worked as the Deputy Attorney General under Paxton for 3 years. And that was during the Biden years when things got really pretty heated. Yes. So, and then most recently, he worked in the Trump administration as the Assistant Attorney General for the U.S. Department of Justice's Office of Legal Policy.
That's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. In other words, he worked directly for Pam Bondi, and he loved that experience and said she's just wonderful. But bottom line here, he's had a lot of litigation experience. After consulting with advisors and with the encouragement from figures like Bondi and Paxton, it became clear he was the right person for the job. He announced his candidacy earlier this year, and we are honored to feature him on our show.
Yes, and this conversation was so inspiring.
It was.
Yeah, and a perfect way to wrap up with some optimism about the future of conservative politics in Texas.
He gives me hope.
Yeah.
It definitely. Enjoy the interview. I know I did when I watched it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Next week, we're doing our podcast on the Attorney General and his duties and responsibilities in the state of Texas. This morning, we are at Restore the Republic, where Erin Reitz is going to be speaking, and he has so kindly agreed to come on our podcast. So, how are you this morning?
I'm happy to be here. It's good to be here. Yes, thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like working in the Deputy AG's office?
Yeah, so look, I was very privileged to serve as Attorney General Ken Paxton's deputy for 3 years. And even though I was his deputy, that was my title, the more endearing title that he had for me was his offensive coordinator. So you think about during the Biden years, I was with him for 3 years. You think about during the Biden era, right? Paxton was our head coach. I was the offensive coordinator. So I was responsible for the whole Texas v. Biden docket. And so I'm proud to say that I sued the 46th president 46 times. I won 85% of those cases. And we were really going to war against a totally hostile Biden admin. And it wasn't just Biden, though. We also brought litigation and investigations against big pharma, big tech, the school districts, big cities, big blue cities and counties that were still using COVID as a pretext to shut everything down. So look, it was a blast. I had the time of my life. during those 3 years from 2020 to 2023. But what I will tell you is that's really where I came to fully understand how important this job is, and how, in particular, how important it is to have the right Attorney General in that spot. Paxton's been in office for over a decade, and so we in the grassroots haven't really had to think a lot about, hey, what is this job? Who do we want as this job, right? Paxton has served our state faithfully and effectively. We go back to the polls, we vote for the incumbent.
Right.
Now it's an open race. And so Texans are looking at the race and they're saying, what kind of an AG do I really want? I've got these candidates to choose from, and I always point people to Article 4, Section 22 of the Texas Constitution, which says, the Attorney General shall represent the state of Texas in all courts and pleas. This is a legal, law enforcement, executive branch job. It's not a legislative job. And yet my three opponents are running on their legislative record as though they're running for the legislature. I, on the other hand, am running on my legal record because I'm applying for a legal position. I tell people about my record litigating, investigating, suing, defending, and appealing on all of the major issues that we in the grassroots really care about, in particular the Lone Star ladies and your listeners. And so that's what the knowledge that this office, the keys to this office have to be turned over to somebody who's ready to keep his foot on the gas is what prompted me to jump into this race. It's also why Attorney General Ken Paxton endorsed me to succeed him, because he understands I can't turn this thing over to the other folks who are just not ready. So, look, I had a great time. I'm blessed to have served as his deputy, and I've had a great career so far, fighting for the things that we care about in the justice system, and I'm ready to take it to the next level as AG.
Well, I heard that you were the think tank of the AG office.
Yeah, that is another, offensive coordinator, think tank. It was my job. I woke up every day looking for opportunities to do justice, to advance law and order. And during the Biden era, I was so focused. I mean, the left was so aggressive. They had so much power, and they still have a lot of power. But they didn't, right now the left hasn't captured the White House. During the Biden years, it was like every day we would wake up and some new headline would come out of what the Biden administration was doing. Some new regulation would be published in the Federal Register, which is basically like, either proposed or actual regulations that we would litigate against. And so it was nonstop. It was a flurry of activity. And we were always on the lookout in our little think tank, looking for creative ways to advance our values in the justice system. I think we were very effective at it.
And Trump appointed you to the DOJ.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, and
well, that was a great time. Look, I most recently served as the presidentially appointed Senate confirmed head of the Office of Legal Policy at DOJ, and it was a blast. And really just maybe for your listeners' sake to catch us up to that moment, right? My wife and I are from San Antonio. I went to Texas A&M, served for 5 years on active duty in the Marine Corps, went to Afghanistan. Then went to law school at UT in Austin, was leading nationally recognized conservative student legal organizations, and then was in private practice for several years, Paxton's deputy, then Senator Ted Cruz's chief of staff. Then I ultimately got brought into the DOJ. And actually, it was this week, 1 year ago this week, I finally got my job offer from the President of the United States at Mar-a-Lago. I remember sitting there's a little sidebar there called the Library Bar, and I sat down with the President, with Attorney General Bondi, and we talked through the position. He said, all right, don't mess it up. I said, yes, sir. I'll do my best.
I saw you posted the picture.
Oh, yeah, you saw that. Yeah, that was right. If folks can find me on social media, if they just look for my name, it's easy to find. But, had to go through Senate confirmation. Proud to say that I got exactly 0 Democrat votes. I think, look, I would have been embarrassed if I got any Democrat votes, because then I would have thought to myself, what did I do in my past to make a Dem comfortable voting for me? Right.
Yeah.
But instead, no Democrat votes. And when I got confirmed, actually, the senior Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Dick Durbin from Illinois, he put out a full-blown press release about me. And in that press release, he said, Aaron Reitz is a danger to democracy and a menace to the rule of law.
Wow.
Which was out of the mouth of a Democrat,
Yeah,
right?
right,
I'm like,
exactly.
Yeah, you're darn right that I, like, of course, because we know what they mean when they say democracy and rule of law.
Yeah.
That's what kind of a threat I am to the left.
Yeah.
And look, I was privileged to serve in the Trump administration during the spring season. not only did I understand the stakes at issue of transitioning to a new Attorney General, but so did the President. So did the Attorney General of the United States, right? This is why nearly 3 months after Paxton announced in early April, I announced in June. Why? Because during that period, I was engaged in a period of, very prayerful due diligence about whether this made sense for me to go. Visiting with the President, visiting with the White House staff, visiting with the Attorney General.
Yeah.
And they all understood, yeah, man, look, we need someone who's vetted, tested, and proven that we know.
Right.
Because the Texas AG, that's the largest red state law firm in the country. And if President Trump doesn't have a known ally
Right.
who has navigated those halls, who has run those plays and scored touchdowns for our movement, we don't know what we're going to get. So my opponents are out there maybe saying nice things. They may be saying the right stuff. They've never done this before.
Right.
So I think that's part of what makes me uniquely suited for the post.
Well, I've been terrified for several years thinking that Paxton was going to move on to the next thing. But I will tell you, I'm excited about you running.
Yes.
I think you are just the person to take his place.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I think our message is really resonating with people. It's so fun to think about the fact that in this race, some people describe it as a crowded field, and that's fine, right? But I've never been elected to anything before. And I started this thing with relatively zero name ID and $0. And yet, in the span of our campaign that's been going for about 6 months now, we have skyrocketed in name ID, having higher statewide name ID among Republican primary voters than 2 sitting state senators who've been in politics for decades, having gone from $0 to several $1 million. Why?
That is awesome.
Because people, once they hear the message, once they think about who do they want, if they could wave a magic wand and create an ideal chief legal officer of Texas, because that's what this is. This is the chief legal officer. It's not just a stepping stone to the next thing. This is the lawyer for the state. They end up realizing, okay, this Aaron Reitz guy, who maybe I heard on the news or on the radio or on the Lone Star Ladies podcast, this is the kind of AG that I want next. This is a major reason why Paxton endorsed me. And look, in his endorsement statement that came out a few months ago, he didn't mince words. He didn't give like a typical political endorsement, right? He said unequivocally, Aaron Reitz is the only qualified candidate in this race.
Yeah.
He's the only one with the experience who's ready on day one to keep kicking butt against the left and advancing our values in court.
Right.
So, and I think as more people discover that, they're like, okay, maybe I've heard of these other kids. Aaron Reitz is the guy. That's the one that I want to endorse. That's the one that I want to contribute to, which people can go to aaronreitz.com to contribute today, AARONREITZ. And so people are rallying to this flag. I'm not a politician. I've never been in politics. Maybe I'm a wannabe politician because I'm running for office, right, at the end of the day. But I offer more than just the standard issue talking points. I offer substance and creativity and energy and credibility for this mission essential job.
Well, I know we're going to be out there block walking for you.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Would love that.
So, what's harder, raising 4 kids or dealing with the Texas politics in Austin?
Oh gosh,
or the traffic.
Yeah. Okay. Depends on the city. Depends on the city. Getting out here to Little Elm wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
It was okay to get here. I'll tell you this. My wife and I are blessed to have 4 young children. We actually met in middle school, believe it or not.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We started dating senior year of high school. We have a divided household. She's a Longhorn. I'm an Aggie. I had to move fast. I met a great girl. I saw my hair start to thin. I said, I've got to get on this. I got to get on this quick because I'm not going into my 30s like this. Anyway, I'm just joking. But we've been married for 16 years, 4 kids. 1 boy, actually my oldest, who's now 14, was born while I was in Afghanistan as a Marine. And when I came back home, I met him. He was about 4 or 5 months old. And that's when I kind of knew, God calls some guys to serve 20 to 30 years in the military. For me, I felt like, okay, God gave this to me as an adventure for my 20s. This was great. I loved my time. Let's take the law school admissions test and see how we do. And then we had several more kids, 3 girls, 1 boy, 3 girls. And it's interesting now that I have like a teen and a tween, Man, I got to say, sometimes raising kids is harder than Texas politics, right? I think in politics, you just have to get out there, tell people what you believe, tell people how you're going to get it done.
Right.
People want to mess with you. You can take them up on their challenge and beat them. With kids, raising young ones, every day is something different. So God bless my wife, Meredith, who is really holding down the fort and enabling me to travel the state like this. And we're all true believers in the Reitz household. My kids are very supportive of what I'm doing.
We love Jesus.
Amen. Yes. No, we're a very faith-filled family.
Yes.
We're a mission-oriented family. So we're all in for this. But I would say raising kids is tougher than Texas politics sometimes.
Yeah, I only had 2, and that was a chore.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Anyway, well, thank you for joining us today.
Happy
It's
to
been
be
fun.
here. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
And I wanted to say we miss you, Brandy. She's our third.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
lady.
that's right. I
She
remember
has to work.
meeting Brandy.
She's got a regular job.
I know. Well, this has been a real blast. I would encourage people to go to my website, aaronreitz.com, AARONREITZ.com. And really, you could just do an internet search for me. I'm very active on all social media. Just spell the last name REITZ, and we'll see folks out on the campaign trail.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless.
And God bless you.
I hope y'all enjoyed that interview as much as we did making it. He's a really great candidate.
Yeah, y'all did a great job, and I enjoyed it when I watched it. So you guys remember to follow us on OBBM, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, and X, and also on Substack.
And the Lone Star Ladies at myyahoo.com if you have any questions, thoughts, suggestions for new podcasts, etc. Y'all have a great day, and thank you for joining us.
God bless you.
And yeehaw!